And I also, from a cultural perspective, this is perhaps where I'm more interested in a topic like this. What kind of message is this sending to our society, to our country, that if you're old, you know, elderly people, even the very elderly, if you're ill, if you're disabled, if there's some sort of dysfunction in your life, if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, any characteristic that's deemed somehow less than ideal, that your life is not worth living?
Precisely. Physician-assisted suicide undermines human dignity. It undermines human equality. That's why disability groups have been some of the groups at the forefront of pushing against physician-assisted suicide. Because in a culture that normalizes physician-assisted suicide, that quickly paves the way for euthanasia. We've already seen that in Europe. And in those kind of cultures, the first people to suffer are the weak, the elderly, the most vulnerable among us, who receive pressure to either, remove the burden from their families. It severs the relationships between intergenerational ties. Suddenly, you have children regarding their parents as burdens. That might not have been the case before. And so, again, the thing with physician-assisted suicide is that there's so many slippery slopes that we go down, it's almost difficult to know which one to discuss at any given moment.
Right.
And so this ultimately undermines equality and dignity of every human person.
Oh, it definitely does. And I know that people on the left are advocates of doctor-assisted suicide, doctor-assisted death. They're going to say, how would this become a slippery slope? How would this lead to euthanasia? But my question would be, we've already seen this happen in some socialist countries that have single-payer healthcare systems. I mean, we saw that, the story that was covered worldwide about that terminally ill baby, Charlie Gard, in the United Kingdom, that a government panel determined whether his quality of life was equal to them paying to keep him alive, or whether he should just, quote unquote, die with dignity here. At what point in our country does this morph into insurance companies determining whether or not a doctor should recommend this or ask you about this, or whether they should deny care for you? And to me, it doesn't seem like that huge of a jump.